Discord where shit's going on. Also check out my socials anyway, link below. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into another Boruto episode that I have in store. So, in this one, it's a pretty late one, but it's gonna be on the past few episodes on Clocky, from ranging from 190 over to the recent 193. I have many things to say, but I'm gonna just jump over to 193. And if you want to hear my rating for most of these episodes, from 190 to 191, which is Clocky's escape, and also the symbolism in Clocky, and also how he survives, similar to the dog that helps him. That Clocky is a survivor. Now, these are other things that I have been pointed out in the manga. Other things because I haven't recently read the manga into the Clockie's backstory. I've all been told in terms of chapter 27 to chapter 38. The thing is, if you ask me if I'm a manga, yes, but I'm only caught up to 48 to where we are at 56, which I'll bring a full and detailed review on it and more videos in terms of that. But in general, there are many things in terms of what is shown here and what is not adapted in the manga. Familiar to how the Salmon comics add would adapt other things and other things in terms of the adaptations of writers, but just in comparison of manga, comics, all the good stuff. But in general, there are a couple of things that aren't added into the manga that are. For example, in 193, one of my boys goes into this a bit better because he has it, even though VS Media, so excuse me for making an excuse, is um, when Crocky smashes the plate. I told Savage he was not giving a shit about home Boruto, even though same character, some giving Boruto a chance instead of Naruto, because Naruto's, as you all know in the manga, he has one more chance to redeem himself for me as a character. You must respect him. So it's the fact that it's that they're trying to show a huge contrast, because when Naruto allows Crockett to come into this house, and Crockett out of retaliation doesn't want to cooperate, Naruto goes inside of his six sage path in his Krama mode. Almost like, that's quite savage from Naruto. That's something that no one Naruto would never do to anyone, because he's normally a let's all get together type person. Except he would kill off the reincarnation of pain. Well, pain. He would also kill off Tsutsuki, because he don't buy the whole power thing. The thing is, Naruto used his power to protect. Yatsuki used that power to conquer. So it's not that far apart from Naruto. Although they had to use that power to conquer, and then we also know that he fails in the future. But what I'm trying to say is, with the total difference ranging from 182 to 183, with the difference between Naruto and Jigen, it's the fact that they use their power differently, but at the end of the day, it's power that they're using. And Naruto described Momoshiki's power, which is the physical essence of it, as not power at all, but more as ninju, as an actual power. But we all know that Naruto would rather kill off those he don't understand, rather than the ones he does understand, which is cold hardness and hate. So, and there's still that I've mentioned it so many times. I've mentioned I don't like Naruto. It's hypocritical because he's acting in a hypocritical way. It's not really being, and it's not about him being consistent. It's literally controversial himself, flipping over and over again. This is why I said so many times that Naruto in the alternate reality, or Naruto differently would have done better. But this is just saying, if there was an alternate Naruto reality, and what if Naruto did this? What if Naruto did that? But in general, we have the Naruto that is, and I dislike him with a passion. But anyway, y'all come so many times that if you've seen this, then it's kind of hilarious. So it's kind of saying in the face of how Naruto wants to have Kawaki, because he sees himself in Kawaki in a way. The problem is he never suffered the pain that 192 does so well in expressing, in which the pain of him being, well, beaten. Well, if Naruto ever got beaten, but then since they were so afraid of him, and then eventually being tortured. So when my guys go in on this, it's a big deal, well, quote unquote, because it's something natural that is happening today. The funny thing is that Orochimaru did the same thing. None of us really batted out. I was just like, oh, Orochimaru test. I mean, Sasuke when he was killing off Orochimaru was like, yeah, you also test, and I'm like, bruh, thank you for some of the subjects, but end of the day, your work is disgusting. The thing is, sure, it's this time in Atsuki, so it's like Atsuki invading, implanted their karma, and all that good stuff. Thing is, in fact, chapter 37, I go into a bit more detail on it, coming out soon once again. Um, so it's one night two kind of flashes out better. I like it. I like it, and how one night two connects to one night three. I feel it shows the contrast and differences, but at the same time, it's kind of showing that Naruto wants to stop him, but at the same time, I don't think Rocky needs Naruto's help because eventually he traps him, and eventually could kill him, which is something that is implied in Warcraft episode one, which I haven't really touched on because one at that time I wasn't really doing YouTube or even attempting to understand this series on that level. But in general, the contrast is being shown, and there's a lot of differences. There's lots of similarities, such as Naruto and Jigen's implied of there's nowhere to go except Naruto says it in a way that I want to help, and while Jigen says it in a way of hey bitch, you ain't got nowhere to go with a fucking rod. But anyway, another thing to bring up is the Kage Summit. That one I like. The thing is, I haven't read read the Shikamaru in which Shikamaru almost kills the Tsuchikage for almost starting a war. It's the fact that the Kage are like, Naruto, why are you doing this? Yes, you are the strongest, but thing is, the reason why the world's at peace is because Naruto is the strongest. In terms of raw power, then you have Sasuke. Thing is, he don't know what Jigen will do to him next, which he eventually finds out. And he's like, oh shit, he's fucking me up. Thing is, went up against mother, kind of killed Naruto. If you've seen that part, I can clearly show it again. Sasuke got stabbed to the heart by mother. Oh, but this was before they got their power ups. But then again, even with their power up, mother had some other. But in general, what I'm trying to spit out here is the fact that the top two from Mana to Kaguya have been moved out the way. Because if Kishimoto really wanted to let them be through the wrath, Naruto Sasuke weren't not winning that battle. In this battle, they weren't winning because they were like crushed, which eventually happened worse. So in terms of them going up against them, what happens, the manga from 40 to 57 and all the way up to 54 kind of expresses it, what matters about that Naruto cannot protect Kawaki, even though eventually they beat Ishiki because the whole thing of picking out Ishiki, it's yay, but since then I have made questions about it in the manga. But anyway, the the Kage are like, yeah, I'm down with it, but at the same time, they're not on Naruto's wavelength because Gaara's like, yeah, I understand, but at the same time, even Gaara knows that Naruto is getting a bit high-headed for him being the balance of the world for the Shadow Prophecy. In terms of what Jiraiya said, because Nagato kind of agreed with Naruto, even though he said, I'm going to surpass Jiraiya, but then he's like, oh wait, you are the chosen one, blah, 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 blah. The thing is, before the thing is, before Hiko died, Nagato was claimed to be one. But that whole thing of that is pretty much so weird. And once again, through Naruto ideology and how he wants to keep pieces through power. But he doesn't like the power to conquer. He only likes the power to keep the peace, which is what Mitsuki will kind of unfold. But you get the whole idea of what I'm saying is power is needed. But in general, the Kage are not on God would like to. The Third Reich Kage wants to. The problem is a lot of things that they keep from him, which will eventually be revealed in chapter 57. Because a lot of things in chapter 57 that will be revealed that'll go into detail in chapter 56. So so I'm gonna wrap one at three and just go back real quickly. Well, I have time. So once again, if it got as far as subscribe, I'll be taking just a couple more risks. Even though in terms of copper, I'll try to spice it and try to be a bit more smart with it. But you was a lot more risk, a lot of risk goes out on this channel in terms of quality of entertainment. But anyway, if in terms of of the Memorial Konohama and Boruto, had for Wajino, it's been interesting because the thing is, if you compare how Ao died to Mujino died, it's not the way they died, it's what they stood for. I felt for more Ao than Mujino. Like Ao got out of the tool. Mujino, yes, was willing to be a tool for Thorough Coming because he felt the kindness, the peace of it. The problem is, if you're a fan of Itachi and you know what Itachi went through, you know that the Third Hokage is no greater than Danzo, which means Third Hokage is no different to Naruto, who looks over shit, and it's like, don't kill, don't kill. Like the entire Uchiken guy massacre. Naruto tried, yes, countered it, but he cannot counter every single village, from ranging from the Mojino Bandits arc, all the ranging from what happens in the Blood Mist Village, or the Mist Village, or even um, or even, or even the blood prison. He can't control it. He can only has allies that knows that Naruto's too Naruto for that. Anyway, in terms of the difference, I felt more for Al than working. I like when it came to Majina, I was just like, yes, he got a tool used for good that eventually was used for evil. Once again, the Okage. I like thing is, it didn't feel forced. It felt like where you're supposed to feel sad for someone, even though you know that someone ain't worth being sad for, in my opinion. But also, but also at the end of the day, you gotta be a tool for someone who looked around, who looked away from seeing the entire planet being massacred. One of my favorites. Everyone knows that. Also, so jumping back from I like the whole banter between Boruto and Crockett. I like being Crockett being savage. Then he says, "I'm sorry." I was like, "Yeah, YouTubers in 2021, just not me, just not me." Anyway, and and also the symbolism with the faces is shown in 192. I like it how 192 goes into Quacky's backstory. It shows it detail by detail. Not much to say in terms of 193 to 192. They both deserves 7 out of 10. Even though the 192 went into detail of Quacky's backstory, even though I think the manga was enough and being said for it, so I would say it would be a good at least 7 out of 10, or probably 8 out of 10 would be good enough for me. In terms of 191 to 190, it was showing the IQ of Quacky being able to outsmart both teams, which are all prodigies. Both of being having the IQ of Minato, potentially even having the IQ of Sasuke, but mainly Minato. Zara having the IQ of Itachi, Mitsuki having the IQ of Orochimaru, but they all have their own set of IQs, and it's mostly their own instead of the genes of whoever gave birth. So the thing is, Big Bang and Quacky got out from all of them. Then Sui took him out. That was fire. But we need to remind that Sumi was said to be Emerisu in season 1, but then we all know how that went, right? Yeah, we all know how that went, right? Yeah, yeah. 190 was it was an entertaining 8 out of 10, especially when Nui decided to chomp down on poor Quacky's arm. I was like, God damn. Like 190 was fun. 190 was fun. And so 191, it shows the symbolism between Quacky and how Quacky doesn't easily trust anyone. He's kind of like a pure-hearted rebel. You could say I relate to him. Also, in terms of the relationship excuse me, before the Quacky, between Quacky and Sumini, it would be a good one, but they're alluding a lot toward the board. So and Sumini, which thing is, I don't mind. The thing is, I want more motivation towards Boruto. So the problem is, it's sort of putting her heart in Boruto is looking towards Sumi, and Sumi looking towards Boruto. So look, it's more that Boruto Sumi will come across. And I was once a Naruto soccer fan once, because why not? And also, so in terms of that, I prefer Quacky and Sumi to be. Even a lot of people were like Quacky and Sadra, because thing is, Quacky ain't really looking at Sumi that way. Quacky is looking towards Sarah and that way, which eventually prelude towards after certain events come across. The thing is, a lot of things in terms of the character's abilities that aren't really shown. So once again, there are a couple of things that are like some more manga adaptation in terms of the character's abilities and what happens. So just a quick note, one thing I didn't know was that Quacky was about to blast an entire village, with just like he annihilated Boro. Thing is, Obviously, Naruto getting away, Naruto getting help. There are a couple other things that manga for, let's say, the Alpha doesn't. Like Boruto slashed him. Boruto had no conversation with Alpha. He was like, "Fuck up, I'm just slashing you, bitch." While in the anime has an emotional scene of Boruto talk about hope. I told me how I feel about it. I'm not really annoyed. I'm like in comparison to what Naruto would say over and over again. Ward has a chance to grow up because of where he will go towards. So once again, the manga adaptation in terms of how it does and how it's been told, and also and the things I've actually checked up on the outside, I'm gonna say that there's to be a bit more darker element into it because I like Boruto to grow up, but I don't want the darker elements that they gladly showed in the Guru fight and make it better than what has been said to in the anime is a good start in terms of where to go on with the anime and the manga side by side. Adaptation, yes, but but don't sway up the points that make the anime what it is and make what the real characters of what they were actually brought out from what they are in terms of what they should be and not what they're alleged to be of the story. Anyway, it's been your boy Sam the Great. Once again, keep a lookout for 56. I'll have a couple other videos or video out this week. Bye.